And then there were four. AFCON semifinals begin today. It's first a matchup of the 2021 edition, Senegal Egypt. Perhaps the Egyptians looking for revenge against the Lions of Teranga, and then Nigeria against Morocco later on from Rabat. What a matchup. I mean, these definitely are the four best teams in AFCON. We have seen an incredible tournament so far that it's shaped up to be an epic two games today, Lahoud.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it for a lot of reasons, and there's some history on the line, right, for a lot of these teams. But if you look at the four semifinalists, Nico, it's I think only the second time it's ever happened in Africa where all four teams are coached by an African coach. I think the last time that happened was 1965.
Wow.
So there's this grassroots movement happening in Africa right now, and I think it's excellent that it's showing up in the coaching spots.
Okay, let's dive deeper into the Senegal-Egypt matchup, because you mentioned history. Not only did these teams face each other in the 2021 AFCON final, they also went head-to-head in that playoff for World Cup qualification in 2022. And Senegal, right after having beat them in the AFCON final, again defeated Egypt. So there's a little bit of a thorn in the side of Egypt when they go up against the Lions of Teranga. Can they go 3 for 3?
It's going to have to be Mohamed Salah stepping up. And if you remember that World Cup qualifying matchup, Mohamed Salah missed a penalty kick in the second leg, right?
Yeah.
In Senegal. So Sadio Mané is really dominated in recent history in terms of getting the decisive kick to win the AFCON Cup of Nations, which is the only star for Senegal. But it's going to have to be the play of the front two, of Mohamed Salah, Omar Marmoush. But Hossein Assam, he has also gotten this domestic feel to Egyptian football between the two big clubs in Al Ahly, which we saw at the FIFA Club World Cup, and the Giants Zamalek. I think it's 6 or 7 players in the 11 come from that club background that played against Cote d'Ivoire.
I think like the big nations in Africa, and then Egypt differentiates themselves because they do have very strong domestic football that they can rely on, whereas Senegal is, I mean, you look, I think everybody recognizes the 11 and they're all abroad, right? Perhaps Egypt kind of has that collective strength that maybe other African teams don't have because the players play with each other every weekend.
And I think the place we see it, everyone knows Omar Marmoush, everyone knows Mohamed Salah, but more people will get to know this fella, Imam Ashur. He plays for Al Ahly. He actually played in Europe for Michelin, had a small stint, and European football didn't suit him. And if you go back and watch the match against Cote d'Ivoire, I thought he was the best player on the field. You remember that assist outside of the boot on the Mohamed Salah goal? In the last AFCON final, he was playing as a right fullback.
Wow.
He's got versatility. He's that one player for Egypt outside of Salah and Marmoush that can create space on his own. And he's that wild card that Senegal really need to take seriously. A big strength for Senegal's in their midfield as well, Nico.
Yeah, the two Gays and Diarra. Also, I think Senegal has an incredible defensive fortitude. They have the most clean sheets in this tournament. You look at Koulibaly and Niakate. How important do you think it's going to be for them, not only on the defensive side, but then translate that fortitude into goals on the offensive end?
Senegal are probably, for me, the most complete side at the African Cup of Nations because they can go from front to back and hit you on the counter. The big question mark for Senegal, the midfield set for the most part. It's what's going to happen with Nico Jackson. Is he going to start? Papitia, he favored Habib Diallo, who I think plays for Metz. And look, the team got through the match against Mali. Nico Jackson should be the starter, but Nico Jackson's had a bit of disciplinary issues, throwing a temper tantrum, coming off the pitch. And I know that Thiaw said, it's not the reason why I took him off, but you read between the lines. If Nico Jackson does not start, look for him in a match of gigantic proportions to be the one that gets in off the bench. But at the end of the day, this team in the final third only goes as far as Sadio Mané lets him go because he's a difference maker. And this seems to be a different sort of AFCON for him because in previous AFCONs, he's been getting you the goals. But this AFCON, he's really become that creator, right? And he recently hit a massive milestone for him where he's now the single most assists in terms of record holders of all time. That's 9. He passed Yaya Toure in this very AFCON. Wow. He's got 3. So he's playing for pride, he's playing for the jersey, but he's also playing for history.
It's incredible to watch as players get older and they have more of that wisdom to share with the rest of their players. All right, let's move it on over to our next match in Morocco, Nigeria. And for that, we're going to bring in our boots on the ground AFCON correspondent, Mimi Fawaz. This game in Rabat, it just feels like the semifinal of all semifinals, Mimi, because Nigeria, the way that they're coming into it, high flying, high scoring versus the hosts that have so much pressure on their backs. This is a pressure cooker for both of these teams.
Yeah, absolutely, Nico. A few people are dubbing it the attack versus the defense in this Africa Cup of Nations because Morocco have only conceded one goal in this competition. Nigeria have won all their games so far, and they really are scoring so many goals. You know, they kept a clean sheet against Mozambique, and as well in their last game, they kept a clean sheet against Algeria. Not just keeping a clean sheet, they're scoring 2+ more goals. So they've been very impressive in terms of attacking flair. So when I'm walking around today in the past few days, when people find I'm actually of Nigerian heritage, as you know, and when people find that out here in Morocco, they're like, we're brothers and sisters, may the best team win. But they all say it's going to be such a difficult match between both countries.
Now, we talk about Nigerian football, and you can't talk about Nigerian football without talking about Victor Osimhen. You got to sit down and interview him, which I thought was super cool. What was some of your big takeaways from being face-to-face and just talking with Vic?
Michael, I was really impressed. You know, it's really hard to actually get into camp and have a sit-down interview with players right now in the knockout stages. So I was really grateful that, you know, he just spent hours on the road. They were based in Fez, so they'd spend a few hours by road coming down to Rabat. Then they had to go and do the late-night training, and they came back late from that. And when they came back from that, he had to eat dinner, and then he did the interview. And he was very relaxed. He was very confident.
Very
and what he kept
relaxed.
saying to me was... You know, he's allowed to after being on the road for so long and training late. So he's allowed to have
makes
one
you
of
look
those
uptight,
relaxing
Mimi.
days.
I think you should have sprawled out on that couch on the other side just to accept that same energy.
She should bring the morning footy energy and match Vic like this.
I thought about it, Nico. I thought about snatching as well and doing the interview, but you know, I had to keep it professional.
Yeah, definitely. But tell me a little bit more.
But he was really confident. He kept
Very.
Nico, I feel I should be slapped. You know what? Next time I see Victor, I think we need to reenact the interview where I'm like slouching on the couch. Then we'll see how he goes from there. No, but what I picked up from him was they're very confident. And he just kept saying to me, we're going to win, we're going to win. They seem to be super confident. And when I said to him, you know, you're going to be playing the 12th man in that stadium. I've been to that match this year in Rabat in that stadium. More than 60,000, and the noise and the atmosphere is incredible. And he said, me and many of the players are used to playing in stadiums of more than 80 to 90,000 fans. So for him, he wasn't fazed at all by that.
Yeah, it's that new stadium is crazy. It's a European architect, so it's a very modern stadium, typical fishbowl of Europe that they're constructing now. So the noise is kept in as opposed to more open air stadiums where the noise travels out, and Moroccan fans are very loud. They're able to put pressure not only on opposition but on referees as well, Mimi, and that's kind of been one of the talking points of this AFCON. Calls in favor, calls against, federations already putting pressure on referees, asking for new referees. So how has this topic kind of seeped in to the semifinal and perhaps the tournament in itself?
How long's a piece of string, Nico? I mean, everybody's talking about that here, about the refereeing, you know, people accusing other teams and countries of, you know, the referees benefiting them, making complaints, official complaints. It depends what side of the fence you're on. It's a big debate, so we'll have to see in this game if there'll be such calls again.
I'll just say one thing. I don't like that this is constantly the conversation.
Yeah.
I think Morocco's good enough to win the AFCON without referees, right? And I think that's the reality. And just let's let the football do the talking and not the referees.
Yeah, look, Morocco was the better team on the day, and they were deserving of winning it. Controversial decisions made beyond that moment with Brian Mbomo. I think of the Bilal El Khanous, should have been sent off, second yellow. So there is mounting cases, but I agree with you that the footballing has been done on the pitch in terms of talking. Now, Mimi, I'm going to put you on the spot because I know that you're diplomatic. I know you have to have journalistic integrity. Who do you think gets to the final between the two semifinals today?
Michael, you're trying to put me in a very sticky situation here. You do know I'm in Morocco, right?
Here's the fence. Off the fence.
You know I'm in Morocco, so I'm going to have to be sort of diplomatic. What a lot of people are saying here is, at the end of the day, Africa wins. Let's not forget, there's both semifinals has 5 African footballers of the year between both of them. So the very best in African football are going to be on display. I think both matches are going to be really difficult. It's really hard to say. For Morocco, as we said, they're so strong defensively. Nigeria, one of the best attacking teams coming into this competition. You've touched already upon Egypt and Senegal. They faced each other before. I was there the last AFCON in 2021 when Egypt and Senegal faced each other when Sadio Mané got the winning penalty. So I think that Egypt are going to be looking for revenge to not let Senegal have 3 out of 3 against them. So we'll see. That's my answer. We've got great talent. We'll see. We'll win for the final.
Mimi, there are journalistic choices and then there are subconscious choices, because I heard when you went to the manicurist today, you didn't ask for green on your nails. You asked for...
I'm neutral. No, I'm red. I'm neutral. It's my favorite color anyways. I'm always red. So, but they were wearing Nigerian jerseys.
You just needed a little green star on your nails and then it says it all.
They were wearing Nigerian jerseys at the salon, funny enough, and they're from the Ivory Coast, and they're supporting Nigeria. So it's really interesting. And when I go around town, I get discounts when people hear I'm Nigerian. They give me discounts when I buy stuff, discount in the taxi. So everybody's in a good mood. So we'll see.
All right, well done, Mimi. Hopefully I'll see you out there. I'll be arriving in Rabat on Friday. So thank you very much, and good luck today at the game. Thanks for watching this video from Morning Footy. For all news and insights regarding leagues around the world like EFL, Serie A, and all UEFA competitions, both men's and women's, don't forget to sign up for Paramount+.